again. So we're going to be solving multi-step equations. We did one-step equations for each. You added, subtracted, multiplied, or divide to do one-step solved equation. We did 2 steps on Tuesday where you had to add or subtract first and then multiply or divide. Yes, sir? Sure. By the way, if you do need to borrow pencils, I got tons of them up here. Sorry, it's not sharpened. I got to sharpen it over in the corner. Multi-step problems will require more than one step. First ones are fairly simple. Your first step is actually simplifying before solving. Okay, simplifying before solving. So for example, in this first problem, combine up like terms. I have 5x, I have 2x. That means I have 7x minus 23 is equal to 5. My first step is to simplify. This does not count as doing something to both sides because I didn't introduce something new. Remember I talked about if you add something, you need to add it to both sides, subtract, you subtract from both sides. That's only if I'm doing something that's not already there. I didn't do anything new. Everything I did was already there. I just combined it up. Now I have to worry about doing things to both sides. I add 23 to both sides, 23, and I get 7x equals 28. Now I want to get the x by itself, divide both sides by 7, and I get x equals 4. Okay. So multi-step equation is going to require more than one step. Often that first step is simplifying, combining up like terms. Okay. Same thing here. My first step, combine like terms. I have 3y and I have negative 6y. So I have positive 3 minus 6. How many y's do I have? What was that? What was that? What was that? Negative 3. Okay. Negative 3y minus 5 equals negative 8. So I combine up my like terms. Now I go solve it like we were working on Tuesday. 2 steps. First step, do the addition. Negative 3y equals negative 3. Now instinctively you should know that if I have negative 3 times something and I get negative 3, that something has to be 1. But just to make sure, divide both sides by negative 3 and y equals 1. Okay? Combine like terms, and then do your 2 steps to solve. Your turn. Do these 2. Okay? Let's do these together. Hopefully you have them done by now. Again, first step, combine up like terms. 6z plus 5 equals 9. Subtract 5. 6z equals 4 equals 4. Yeah, there should be right there. So 4 equals 4. Divide both sides by 6. Language. Z equals 4 over 6. Leave it in fraction form, but reduce your fractions. So this should be z equals 2 thirds. Okay. Same thing on the other one. Combine up like terms. Negative 5, positive 7 gives me 2r minus 3 equals 11. Add 3 to both sides. 2r equals 14. Divide by 2, and r equals 7. Don't be afraid if things don't work out even, particularly on your final answer. Often, particularly when I'm making up problems, I'll just put in numbers, and you might have a fraction for the end every single time. Doesn't really matter. You're not adding or subtracting fractions. You're just getting a fraction for an answer in the final step. So don't ever be afraid of that. It's not that big a deal to get one. Just reduce if you do. Okay? Questions on this first set of examples? Okay. This is essentially the same process, only your simplification's a little different. What do you have to do? You have to distribute instead. So my first step on this one is to distribute. Negative 8 times 2, negative 16x. Negative 8 times negative 1 gives me plus 8 equals 36. Same idea. Distribute, then solve. Subtract 8. Negative 16x equals 36 minus 8 is 28. Got 28. Okay. Divide both sides by negative 16. X equals negative 28 over 16, which are both divisible by 2, which are both divisible by 4, equals negative 7/4. That's my answer, negative 7/4. I'll try not to do them to you like that so much, but it does reduce. Okay, 28 over 16, 7 over 4. They're both divisible by 4. Distribute by 2. 8 equals 2k minus 6. Now it's a simple two-step problem. Add 6. I get 14 equals 2k. Solve for k, divide both sides by 2. 7 equals k. Almost exactly the same thing we did before. Simplify one side and then solve your two-step equation. The simplifying on each side on this one is you distribute. It's not combining up like terms, it's distributing. Okay? Your turn. Do those two. Give those two a try. Okay, so let's do these two. Most people are finished. First thing you do is distribute. 3 times 4, that means I have 12p. 3 times 1 plus 3 equals 27. Subtract 3 from both sides. 12p equals 24. Divide both sides by 12. P equals 2. Okay. Next one, same thing. Even though the x is in the back of the parentheses, your first step, still distribute. 5 times 2, 5 times negative x. So I get 10 minus 5x equals 15. Subtract 10. Negative 5x equals 5. Don't lose the negative in front of the 5. That's one of the most common mistakes people do, is you have this negative here, that stays with it. When I subtract, that comes down and does not change. It does not change to become positive. That negative that's in front of that term stays there. Very, very common mistake. They just disappear for some reason. Okay. Divide by negative 5. X equals negative 1. Okay. Questions? Hopefully you're getting them. If you're not getting them, you can ask me now, or you can ask me later. If you're not sure, you want to ask me later. 5 divided by negative 5. Okay. Because it is negative here. It's negative here. It's negative here. It's negative here. That's what it does. Do you see it? You don't want to lose the negative. So the original problem has a minus x, right? When I distribute, that negative, that stays there. That doesn't go away. That's why I have a 5x negative 5 answer. So the negative in front, that minus is still there. And that minus still has to be here when I bring it down. Okay? That's why that's negative. And then to get this to be a positive, what I have to divide by? Negative 5 divided by negative 5. Do you see that? Okay. 5 divided by negative 5 is negative 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1, because I have a negative, so it has to be a negative answer. Okay, you see it? Okay, a little more complicated, but not much. Okay. So this one, if I have the variables on both sides, here's what you have to do. You have to get the variables on one side of the equation. Now, I always try to move the smaller variable. This one here, I have 5r and I have 7r. What's smaller, 5 or 7? 5. So I want to get rid of the 5, not the 7. It will still work if you do the 7, but I like to get rid of the smaller ones. It makes it a little easier. Subtract 5r from both sides. And I get negative 3 equals 2r plus 9. And then we've done this. We've done several of these from here. Add 9 to both sides. 6 equals 2r. You're right, subtract. You're right. The second you said wait, I saw my mistake. Subtract 9 from both sides. Thank you very much. Negative 12 equals 2r. Divide both sides by 2. And I get r equals negative 6. Thank you for catching my mistake, pointing it out while I'm recording, too. So everybody who watches this recording, it's maybe one of you. Maybe. Yeah, they're posted. You can go on the website. I have links on my website. I have a YouTube channel that all my YouTube channel is nothing but these kinds of videos. That's it. So it's not like it's a real popular channel. I think I've got 6 followers. At least I did last year. I don't know if I still have. They can hear me and they can see the board, but that's it.
So they can hear.
Yeah, so it looks like it's invisible writing. It's gnarly to watch. It is. It's really gnarly to watch, but it's cool. Okay. Excuse me. Second one. Second example. I can't do this until I get rid of my parentheses. Distribute the 2. Negative 6x minus 4 equals negative 4x plus 4. Get rid of the parentheses first. Distribute the 2. Now, my question to you is, what's smaller? Negative 6 or negative 4? Negative 6 is smaller. I want to get rid of the smaller one, and you'll see why in just a moment. If I add 6x to both sides, I get negative 4 equals 2x plus 4. Notice my x's are no longer negative. I had 2 negative x's, and I don't have any negative x's anymore. This is because I got rid of the smaller one. If you get rid of the smaller one every time, your x's or your variables will be positive. You don't have to worry about dividing by a negative. Subtract 4. Negative 8 equals 2x. Divide by 2. X equals negative 4. Okay? Do the next 2. So let's do these 2 here. First one, I just need to move them. There's no simplifying first. So I get rid of the smaller one, 2m. So I subtract 2m from both sides. 6 equals 2m plus 12. Subtract 12. Negative 6 equals 2m. Divide both sides by 2. And I get m equals negative 3. The other side, I need to distribute first. 2g minus 5 equals negative 3g minus 3 times 7 is 21. Negative 21. Yeah, there we go. Took me a second. What's smaller, 2 or negative 3? Negative 3. So I want to add 3 to both sides. So I get 5g minus 5 is equal to negative 21. Add 5 to both sides. 5g equals negative 16. Divide both sides by 5. And g equals negative 16 fifths. And leave it like that and call it good. No reason to fix it. No reason to change it. It's bueno like it is. Okay. Quick. Questions? Okay, one more set of examples. And they're actually not that hard. There's only 2 examples here. So, problems with fractions. Nobody likes working problems with fractions, particularly if you have to add or subtract fractions. Multiplying isn't too bad. Dividing's not too bad. Here's what you need to do. Whenever I have fractions, and this goes for any time, first step I do is get rid of them. Multiply through by your common denominator. If I have more than one fraction, I have to find a common denominator. I only have one fraction. What's my denominator? 2. So I multiply everything times 2. Okay. 2 times 3/2 is 3. So I have 3 x's. No more fraction. That's what I'm trying to do here. What I have to do, 2 times negative 4, negative 8, 2 times x, equals 2x, 2 times negative 6, negative 12, and then 2 times x again gives me plus 2x. Look, one step, no fractions. Fractions are gone. Now it's an easy problem to solve. I do this at every level. Anytime we have fractions, get rid of them first. Even if they're complex, ugly algebraic fractions. This is what I teach how to do it because they're easier to work with. Now, combine up like terms. 3x and 3x minus 8 equals 2x plus 2x gives me 4x minus 12. What's smaller, 3 or 4? 3. Subtract 3x from both sides, and I can cheat. I get negative 8 equals x minus 12. Add 12. And x equals 4. It's a lot of steps, but first step, get rid of the fractions, and then from there it's easy. I don't like to, I can do it, but I don't like to add or subtract fractions either. It doesn't bother me nearly as much as I'm sure it bothers you guys. Okay, I've done it for 20 years. I've been teaching. For 20 years, I've had to add and subtract fractions. I've gotten where I can do it pretty comfortably because I do it all the time. I know it's not the most comfortable thing for people to do. So when we're solving, so you don't have to deal with that, get rid of the fraction. Okay? Your turn. Same idea. So, first step, get rid of the fraction. My denominator is 3. I multiply everything times 3. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times minus 5, minus 15. 3 times 2/3, 2x. 3 times 1 is 3. No more fractions. No more fractions, easy to solve. Subtract 2x. X minus 15 is equal to 3. Add 15. X equals 18. Okay, easy to do. Questions? What do you say?
May I please go back?
Yes, you may. Be quick.